All right, you're a musical theater actor and you need to put together a musical theater book. What do you put in it? What is good to put in your book and what is not so good to put in your book? What are the types of songs that you need to put in your book so that you have a well-rounded book? We're going to talk about that today after the bump. Hello, I'm Doug Fall with Augmented Actor, where we help you augment your acting career with tips, tactics, and tech. Before we move on, please subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon. This helps me make more content like this. Today, I'm on my way to an audition for a musical theater production. A lot of actors who are newer to the scene don't have a musical theater songbook put together, and I highly recommend that you get one for yourself. If you wait until an audition asks for a specific type of song, then you have to rush out and do research and find a piece, find a copy of that piece, edit it down to 32 bars or so, and then rehearse it, and there's a lot of stress involved. If you already have a book of pieces that you can do at any time that you know like the back of your hand, you will be prepared for any audition that comes your way, and you won't have to deal with all that stress. You can eliminate it right off the bat. But there are certain types of songs that you want to have in your book. Now basically you want roughly 10 to 15 songs in your book, and you want to have a broad range of categories that these songs will fit into. Now roughly about half of your songs should be up-tempo songs, peppy, lively, happy, fast-tempoed songs. Then about half of your book should be ballads, slower songs, torch songs, jazzier songs, melancholy songs, sad songs, dramatic songs, things like that. You will need both of these broad categories, but within each of those two broad categories, you're going to want a breakdown of various different types of songs. One good song can fit into multiple categories, so if you're very shrewd about how you choose a song, you can have a very lean songbook that covers lots of different types of songs and only have to learn a few. I do recommend, though, that you put several songs in your songbook. You don't always have to have all of your songs with you. What you do is you take your song and you put them in like little plastic protector sheets like this. And then you put them in a 3-ring binder, and that way you can have a whole library of songs on file at home, and then just select a few to throw into your book when you're ready to go to an audition. So you want to choose songs, some songs at least, that show your range. Now when I talk about range, I'm not just talking about vocal range. Obviously if you can sing really high notes or really low notes, you want some songs that can show that off. But also you want to show your range of emotional expression. So songs that are very dramatic, or maybe where you might shed a tear, or songs that are very humorous. You might want to show that kind of range. You can also show your range in character, whether you can play a villain or a romantic lead. You want to be able to have a pick of songs for different character types. All right, so let's talk about types of songs that you want to have in your book. You always want to have at least 1 or 2 songs that are from the early days of musical theater, the 20s, 30s, 40s, and even the 50s. Stuff like Cole Porter and Gershwin, Dick Powell and Ruby Keeler movies, those kind of songs. 42nd Street's a good example. You also want some songs from the golden age of musical theater. This is the period between like the late 50s to early 70s, and it kind of includes shows by Rodgers and Hart, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Lerner and Loewe, the big musicals when Broadway made its revival in the 60s. And then you want some contemporary pieces. Now, people who were born after 2000 might not even consider Hairspray a contemporary piece. But basically, any piece that's written in the 70s and beyond is considered a contemporary piece for the sake of musical theater. So Sondheim, Jason Robert Brown, anything from that canon is contemporary. There's a ton of great new musical theater that's contemporary out there, and I'm sure you can find something. Other types of songs, you want a comedic song. Now this can be a song that is funny, written like the dentist song from Little Shop of Horrors. It's a funny song, it's a little bit overdone, but it's a funny song as written. Or you can also take any kind of song and interpret it in a comedic way. The character that you play maybe is opposite of what you would expect for somebody singing that song. For example, there's a humorous song from Little Abner called Past My Prime, which is normally sung as a duet between a young girl and an older guy. And I did a take on it where I just played the young girl as an older guy and sang it as a solo. And it kind of changed the meaning of the song a little bit, but it worked for a comedic piece. Another person I heard of did I Love a Piano, which is an old Judy Garland tune, and they humped and licked the piano while they were doing the song. So they did some comedic acting while doing a fairly non-comedic song. And those are all appropriate ways to do something comedic. You want to include a very classical sounding piece, like an operatic sounding piece, if you are able to do that kind of stuff. And then you want to have something that's a little belty. You want to have a good pop song. This can be something that's pop from the radio, Britney Spears or something like that. Or it can be from a modern pop musical like Mean Girls or Heathers or Mamma Mia or Legally Blonde. You also want a rock song, something that you could audition for shows like School of Rock or Rock of Ages or Grease. Those are all good pieces that you can draw from, or you can also just draw from contemporary rock radio songs or the Beatles or the Stones or anything like that, anything that you do well that speaks to you. And finally, you want a torch song or a jazzy song, something from the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, Dean Martin, those kind of songs, Fly Me to the Moon, or I Get a Kick Out of You, that kind of stuff. One or two pieces like that in your book will really help you flesh it out. A couple things to be careful of. You want to be careful of doing songs that are very, very complex, especially if the piano part is very difficult to play, because the pianist has to be able to play it well in order for you to look good doing the song. Current Broadway hits are not any good. You don't want to do stuff that's currently on Broadway because everybody's going to be doing those things. They're very popular songs and you want to stand out from the crowd. Like currently Hamilton is big on Broadway. You don't want to do songs from Hamilton. Even Wicked is still on Broadway, so you don't want to overdo these songs that lots of people do for auditions. Learn them, keep them in your book, have the sheet music ready, and wait about 5 or 10 years for the songs to kind of cool off a bit, then throw them in. You don't want to choose the most popular songs from shows. You can do songs from My Fair Lady, but don't choose On the Street Where You Live because it's the most done song from that show and probably the most done song ever, in my generation at least. And you want to choose songs that fit your type and the type of role that you're going for. Now that doesn't mean you can't sing a song that is sung by the opposite sex traditionally, or that's out of type for that show. It's okay to do that as long as you're aware of what the type is going to be perceived as, and you're actually trying to play against that type. Now, where do you find these songs and how do you get the sheet music for them? There's a great resource called musicnotes.com. I'll link to it down below, and you can find virtually any published piece of music that is on the radio or in a Broadway musical or off-Broadway musical. And a lot of these songs you can actually transpose into your own key. You always want to bring the song in the key that works best for you and your vocal range. And Music Notes will do all that work for you. You can print it out, and when you purchase the song, they're usually about $5 a pop. It is actually licensed for you to sing at auditions. So you can do it without any fear of copyright infringement or performance-related issues. Another place that I like to find songs is at callbacks and auditions for shows. Theaters will give you a side that is perfectly cut to 32 bars from a song from the show. And it's already something that they're planning on seeing you as anyway, so it's already a song that's appropriate for you and your type. So when I audition for a show like that, I keep those sides and I put them in my folder. I wait a couple seasons or so before I pull them out, especially if I'm auditioning for the same theater. But those are good ways to get copies of music that you can use for your auditions. The most important thing is to just start compiling your book. You don't have to get it all done in one fell swoop. Start putting the pieces that you do use and that you have performed successfully, pieces that you've done in shows before and that work really good for you and your type. Put those in your book, put them in your file, and have them ready to go at a moment's notice. All right, well, I gotta wrap this up because I gotta get to my audition. So I hope you found these tips useful. If so, please tell me about some of the songs that you like to put in your book down in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel. I love to see you here. Let's talk again soon.